Jai Gurudev. Question. You seem to have based the Shaktipat system solely on the philosophy of Yoga Darshan. Is it also related to Bhakti Yoga, that is the path of devotion? Answer. It has been pointed out already that all spiritual methods lead to the inner awakening of Shakti. Bhakti Yoga is centered on the feeling of the heart. Kundalini Shakti has been described as Ahladini Shakti, delightful power by the path of devotion. As long as Ahladini Shakti has not become active and introspective, Gauni Bhakti, the secondary path of devotion, should be followed. To get to a temple, to worship, to sing divine songs, to recite stotras, to undertake pilgrimages, etc., all come under the category of Gauni Bhakti. Gauni Bhakti denotes by its very name secondary, but it is necessary for the manifestation of unbounded love that the self proven system of autonomic movement is followed. With the awakening of Ahladini Shakti, Gauni Bhakti is like a staircase which becomes insignificant after reaching the top of the stairs. Narad Bhakti Sutra first defines devotion as Satva Asmin Pram Prem Swarup. The first two words Sa and Tva means to transcend the level of secondary devotion. The next Sanskrit word Asmin denotes Sagun, God manifested. The Sanskrit word for God absolute is Tasmin, which the author carefully does not use. Asmani is indicative of that manifest power which is alive and active for the aspirant. The delightful power, having been awakened and made active at the personal level, is seen within the fold of three gunas, basic elements of the universe, that is, sattva, defined as harmony, rajas as activity, and tamas as inertia, yet is virtually free from them. When an aspirant directly experiences this power, an unbound love is awakened within him. This is not an ordinary love, but is divine and absolute love and is beyond the field of Maya, that is illusion. The aspirant becomes detached from the world and he no longer experiences any pleasure with objects of the world. He remains completely absorbed in divine love and cherishes a continuous desire for union with his Lord. This state, defined as the state of absolute love and the activation of the delightful power in him, is the real devotion. The acquired secondary devotion is left trailing behind and the automatic activities of Shakti start. Narad Bhakti Sutra further defines the state of bhakti after attainment. A Siddha Bhakt, a real devotee, does not want to acquire the power of anima, that is, to make one's body or anything else as small as he like, that is, an atom, laghima, that is, to make one's body or anything else as light in weight as he likes, or to fly in the air, to walk in fire, or to disappear physically at will. Indeed, these siddhis are disdainful and must be given up. Siddha basically means natural. When this natural state is attained by an aspirant in the form of an absolute love for the divine, he is no longer required to toil for devotion. All the symptoms and automatic movements of devotion appear within him in a very natural manner. He is then required simply to witness what happens and do nothing himself. Siddho bhavati means he becomes realized, carries this meaning. Another sutra further elaborates this state of realization. A realized man, it says, become nearly mad, intoxicated with joy, actionless, and self satisfied, his own self having merged with the self. Such a devotee starts experiencing the instinctive movements like weeping, singing, laughing, jumping, dancing, trembling, clapping, composing poems, adopting a number of Hatha Yoga postures, pranayams, mudras, hearing internal sounds, and seeing internal visions. He may shed tears, fall on the ground motionless, his body may become light, heavy, cool, or warm without any physical reason. Ordinary human beings may think that he has gone mad, but he derives pleasure in all these activities. At times, he sits completely motionless, giving the impression of a totally different person compared to the one who was previously so active. The devotee becomes inwardly awakened to the happiness which is not found anywhere on the worldly plane. The outward behavior of the devotee is described in the sutra, which states that he no longer desires anything after this achievement. He is never attached to the objects of senses, nor he does take pleasure in the possession of these objects. In other words, his dependence on God is total. Question: does the path of knowledge make any reference to this awakening of Shakti? Answer: out of the four great pronouncements of Vedanta, that is the later part of the Vedas, the first one reads knowledge which originates from Shakti of God or Atma and animates the inanimate Chit. Pragyan is then the virtual controller of senses which are involved in the creation, procurement, and enjoyment of the world but never gets itself involved in them. It is as much above the world as in the world because it is never affected by pleasure or pain, profit or loss. But unfortunately, the living being misunderstands this divine power to be his own individual power and becomes egoistic. When his actions become affected by the sense of doing, the effects of these actions start accumulating. These sanskars give birth to all sorts of desires which are ultimately the cause of birth and rebirth for a number of lives. As long as the living being does not make the distinction between the divine power within him and his actions, he cannot stop being egoistic and the accumulation of sanskars continues. The observance of Shakti as separate and beyond the sense is the awakening of it. Until the aspirant understands that an omnipotent energy is making his body, mind, and senses function, then whatever amount of reading, listening, or thinking is done, pragyan still cannot be understood. This knowledge comes when pragyan itself has awakened Shakti by direct and definite experiences of power. When the aspirant experiences pragyan or kundalini power, he allows it to function without interruption and surrenders completely to it. He begins to reflect with his purified mind, seeing that the power which he considered to be separate from him is in fact his own. This leads him to a state which is signified by another Mahavakya, Soham, meaning I am that. This has been, however, greatly misunderstood by the majority of people. They do not try to awaken Pragyan. They do not know what God is and where He exists. They simply go on verbally repeating Soham, Soham. When that I is not visible, that and when I is simply the ego besmeared with objects of sense, how can I be that? When Pragyan is inwardly awakened, it removes the covering of these three elements called Sat, Raj, Tam. Sat means real, Raj means active, and Tam means dark, and quiets Chitta. As a result of this, the thoughts and counter thoughts occurring in the mind perish, and the mind loses its existence. This destroys the five afflictions and lead the way towards fundamental truth. Following this sequence, the aspirant first attains the state of Soham, that is, I am that. As the veil of illusion covering the intellect thins out, the power of discrimination develops. The study of scriptures give pleasure never experienced before. Things become clearer, ideas blossom from within during contemplation. Chit is illuminated more and more by light of the soul. The sense of detachment towards the world becomes firmer, and ultimately the state of total detachment from the world is attained. This whole sequence in an aspirant is based on the awakening of pragyan, without which he may only inflate his ego through practices requiring conscious efforts and egoistic study of scriptures. Jai Gurudev.